Yeah. Again, welcome. Here in last session, we discussed regarding to the Maslow's hierarchical theory of motivation. Today, we are going to talk regarding the Herberg two-factor theory. When you see Herberg two-factor theory, this theory was developed based on the Maslow's hierarchy only. According to the Herberg, the entire motives are divided into the two parts as an hygiene factor and motivational factor. When you see, he classified the entire the entire needs of people into the two broad classifications: motivational factors and as well as the hygienic factors or maintenance factors. See, the motivational according to the Herberg, motivation is an as a motivation, the item that determine the job content are considered as a motivational factors. And the factors which have an influence onto the job, then job content, then it is called a motivational factor. For example, achievement, recognition, responsibility, advancement, and the work itself. These are all called as an motivational factors. And where the elements that influence the job content context, it is called the hygiene factor. And a job content element and the factors will each influence onto the job content. That called the factors which is influence onto the job content is called the hygiene factors or maintenance factor, like company policy, salary, interpersonal relation, working conditions. So these are all comes under the maintenance factors or hygienic factors. They must be adequate, and if they're absent or inadequate, that will create the dissatisfaction. Yes, hygiene or maintenance factors are required. If they are not there in the organization, that which will generate the dissatisfaction. If the motivational factors are there, people may be, if in their absence, or also will be motivated to them. For example, you say whether you recognize or not recognize, people will perform their normal work. If you recognize, they will perform well compared to the previous. I mean, but when you don't pay the salary, when working conditions are not good, when the peer relations are not good, then ultimately interpersonal relations are not good, then it influences onto the productivity of the employee. That's what Hedberg specified. So the needs are classified: hygiene needs and as well as the motivational needs. So that's about the hygienic factors. Represent the need to avoid the pain in the environment. They're not intrinsic onto the job, but they're related to the conditions under the job performed. They're associated with the negative feelings that they must be viewed as an preventive measures that remove sources of dissatisfaction from the environment. That's whatever we discussed, that comes under the hygiene factors. And the hygiene factor believe that these factors created a zero level of motivation, and if maintained at a proper, prevent the negative type of motivation from occurring. Thus the hygiene factors was absent, increase the dissatisfaction with the job. When present, it will prevent the dissatisfaction but do not increase the satisfaction of the motivation. So I mean, that's what motivation will becomes only by the hygiene factors. If their absence will create the dissatisfaction, finally people will be demotivated. So we need to consider this. Next, we talk on to the motivators or motivational factors. Under the motivators are associated with the positive feelings of the employee about their job. Yes, that's what already I told you here. We have an job related achievement, recognition, responsibility, advancement. These are all comes under the motivational factors. Their absence, the motivators are necessary to keep the job satisfaction and job performance of the eye. On the other hand, if not present, they do not prove highly satisfying. Motivational factors are directly related to the job content itself, individual performance of it, its responsibility and the responsibilities and growth and recognition obtained from. So we say that the hygiene factors or the motivational factors are both combinedly required for the betterment of the organizational performance by the individual, or to improve the motivational level. I mean, to commit the employee to do a specified task, both are required. But the absence of motivational factor may not dissatisfy the employee, but where the hygiene factors or maintenance factors are absent, it will create the dissatisfaction in the people to do the task. So when we say that to apply the two-factor theory at the workplace, Herbert suggested the two-step process. First, the supervisor should attempt to eliminate the hygiene factor that are found to be more base than the factor lead to satisfaction. First, we need to identify the hygienic factors. We need to eliminate them. I mean to say that we need to avoid that dissatisfactions. Once the dissatisfies have been somewhat neutralized, then the supervisor may able to motivate the worker through introduction of the motivational factor. And we need to stop of negative impact of the hygiene factors, and after that we need to encourage the motivational factors. Through that we are able to sustain the higher performance in the organization. So this is about motivational factors. Next we will come to the another theory, X theory and Y theory. This is also very popular theory that this is an attitude of the manager will be considered under this. There are the two type of managers. Actually, this is proposed by the McGregor in 1960. McGregor, I mean, so that Douglas McGregor formulated the X theory and Y theory in 1960 by two aspects of the human behavior at work. I mean, it takes the two different views of individuals that called employees. One which is a negative, called as X theory. One which is a positive, which is called as a Y theory. People will have, management will have the different type of styles of working, like negative working style and positive working style. Negative working style represent the X type and Y type of management represent the positive working style or positive management styles. The perception of the manager will be varies according to the X and Y. So McGregor, what he did, he proposed certain assumptions for X people, certain assumptions for the Y people. If you see the X type of managers, they assume that an average employee intensely does not like to work and try to escape. And here we have in all negatives. People are not ready to work. People try to escape the work. Employees do not work. They must be pursued, compelled, warned, and then by giving the punishments only we are able to increase their, they can attain the organizational goals, or their performance can be increased. The manager is needed to adapt the dictator style. No, by forcing style we need to give. Many employees rank their job security at the top, and no aspiration. They are not aspirants, and they are not ambitious. And employees generally dislike responsibility. Employees resist change. They don't accept the change. An average employee needs formal direction. No, these are all negative thoughts. No, people's perception at the management level is a negative. That is called the X theory. Then we have an Y theory. Under the Y theory, mostly it comes under the positive level. Employees can pursue against to the X theory. Here, people are physically, mentally, they would like to put their efforts for inherent of their jobs. Employees may not require only threat and external control on the condition. Self-direction, they are self-directed, self-controlled, self-dictated. They are very sincere. They are to achieve the organizational objectives. They are highly rewarding and satisfying. Job is highly rewarding to them, and it is satisfying. They try to satisfy. They are more show the loyalty and commitment to the organization. An average employee learn, admit, recognize responsibility, obtain responsibility. Sir, you see, X is having a negative, Y is having a full of positive, and they try to use their entire strengths and fully they will be utilized for producing or for showing the efficiency into the organization. And they have a lot of higher level of creativity. They are very resourceful into the organization. And finally, we say Y manager feel that if I use my employees well, then I can achieve I can solve all the problems into the organization. So then you can see X theory presents an pessimistic view of the employee nature, behavior at the work, and while Y theory an optimistic view of the employee way of nature and behavior of the work. If we correlate it both Maslow's theory, we can say X theory assumes that the employees emphasis on the psychological needs, physiological needs, and the safety needs, while X assumes that social need, esteem needs, and self-actualization need are the dominate the employees. So you say that these are the assumption. I mean, when I compare to the Maslow's theory, X people are basically concentrated on this level only, but lower level needs only. The higher level needs will dominate the employee in majority of the times. this is what X. But why assume that yes, they required security, they required esteem, they required social, they're self-actualized, self-controlled, self-managed. No higher level thought they will provoke in the in the theory Y. So basically, X theory and Y theory are both theories. We need to identify the type of people according to the. Sometime we need a type of the people. Based on that, a type of style we need to adapt, either X style or Y style. So this is about the using of the X style and Y style. We are able to manage the human resource and motivate the people into the organization. Thank you. With this, we are finishing the first part of second part of unit number 1, that is called management thought evaluation process. Thank you all. We will see in the next session regard